Alright, hi. So a problem came up where in a game engine, the collision geometry, as well as some other things, requires the use of purely concave shapes. Now, for a display model, so the one that gets the texture, the one that actually renders in game, something like this is, it's pretty much typical. It's what you would expect. But when it comes to other things like shadow geometries, things for casting shadows against the sun, or collision model for physics or just physics models in general, those shapes need to be convex in a lot of different applications for reasons that are technically beyond me. In this case, I'm just going to go ahead and walk through the process of taking a model like this, simplifying it down really fast, and then breaking it up into chunks that are hopefully usable. In the case of trying to create a convex, a series of convex objects to work as the collision geometry for this mesh. So right away, this is a lot of geometry. We really don't need that for what we're doing. So I'm going to go ahead and copy this. I'm going to hide the original. So now with this LOD0, we're going to go ahead and leave that the decimals at the end there. That's just how Blender itemizes things with similar names. It will put .001, and then the next things will be .002, etc., etc. In this case, I'm just going to go ahead and add some modifiers. First of all, I'm going to rebuild this using the remesh modifier. So right away that does something, but it's not really what you want. I'm going to switch this to sharp, and that gives us these nice chunky squares. And I'm actually going to lower the octree depth just a little bit. And I want to compare that to the original. No, I think we might need just a little bit more for the time being. Just make sure that it stays as close to the original as possible. Go ahead and hide that. Apply. Now the next thing I'm going to do is take the decimate modifier, make sure it's on collapse, bring this down. In fact, I'm going to turn this back on. Bring that down. And what I'm looking for, I want to make sure that the highest points, so you can see this right here, this bit of a no-no, we don't really want that. So I have to increase that out just a little bit. This is totally fine. Having just a little bit here, like if someone was going to shoot and a bullet was going to go through there, they would pretty much be lined up exactly with what they're seeing as far as the collision geometry goes. Like this particular spot right here could potentially be a problem, but for like 99 times out of 100, it's probably not going to be a problem. So we'll go ahead and leave that there for now. So now that I've got that, I'm actually going to hide the original one more time. And in order to make this easier, I'm actually going to do one little thing. There is a tool in Blender called the Bisect tool. It hides in the knife section. Set to bisect. And I'm just going to, I need to select everything, and then I'm going to go ahead and line this up right there. And that's going to cut through the whole mesh in a very straight line. And already I've pretty much mostly solved the problem, but not quite yet. So what I'm actually going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and grab this, make sure that merging is on. I'm going to bring that up there. I'm going to grab this. I'm going to what I did before is I double clicked G, and that gave me, and that slides the vertice up, down, left, and right.
move that there. And I'm going to do the same thing here. I'm actually going to not do that. I'm going to Alt left click as well as hold Shift down. And I'm just going to, oh, nope, that's not the right one. There we go. That's the loop that I made. That's the loop that I cut. And I'm just going to grab these. Now that I've grabbed these, I can press V, and that separates them out from the rest of the geometry. And before I do anything else, I'm actually going to press F. And what F did, that filled in that face. And that makes it nice and flat. And I'm actually going to Shift H to show me only this geometry here. Press F one more time on this half. That also fills that in, so it's a nice solid piece. I'm going to Control H to bring that geometry back. And if this doesn't happen to work, actually, first of all, what you can do is actually separate these out into two different pieces here. Now, if this doesn't happen to work, there's another thing you can do. I'm just going to show it on this top piece here. So if this doesn't happen to work and you need more pieces, if you go over to Edit and Preferences, and then make sure you hit under the add-on section here, go over to the search bar and type in Cell. You want Cell Fracture. Make sure that's turned on. It comes with Blender, as far as I know. Don't remember adding that later. Pretty sure that came with Blender. Go ahead and close that now that that's enabled. And with the mesh selected in object mode, go ahead and click on Object here. Quick Effects, Cell Fracture. Among all of the different settings here, the only one that I really care about is Source Limit. This determines how many cuts it's going to make. For the most part, I think with a mesh like this, if it's already pretty close to being good and you don't really want to overcomplicate it, I'm going to set that to 5, and let's see what we get. Alright. Just want to grab that whole thing. So this is the original mesh. It's still there, and it just made a bunch of broken copies. So I'm actually going to hide that now. And now we can easily see what we've done. So it broke it up into a few different chunks. Let's go ahead and move them out so that we can see. And that looks like it did a pretty good job. It's not too... This is, for the most part, a pretty good result. It will be a little bit different each time, especially if you turn on noise. But for the most part, this is pretty much what you're gonna get. In those cases where you do need to break it up further, well, you could either bisect it again, like I did before, or you can try again with the cell fracture and see if the results are a bit different. But for the most part, this is pretty much a good result. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with that. This is also really useful for, creating particle effects where something breaks and shatters and things go everywhere. And then you can bake that into an animation down here with keyframes. We have physics in Blender that allows us to do that. But for the sake of this particular topic, when it comes to breaking something up into chunks so that we can more easily use them in terms of like in-game collision geometry, this is a pretty good result. Hopefully that solves most of your problems when it comes to putting together a nice collision geometry that doesn't break your game. And yeah,